So a while back, I started working out west, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and I started coming across these guys that are long distance shooters. Um, some of them did PRS. For the most part, most of them just wanted to see what they could get out of a rifle. Um, a lot of them had really high end guns, four, six, eight, $10,000 guns, $4,000, optics sitting on top, um, shooting some super weird round I'd never heard of. Being from Central Missouri, 30-06, 30-30, 270. It's pretty much what we do. Wood stocks, zero MOA mounts, cheap $60 to $100 Bushnell scopes. You go out there 25 years in a row, knock your deer down, call it a year, put it in the safe, never see it again. Well, I wanted to see if I could keep up with these guys, so I went out and I just bought what I knew was was a rifle. So I just kind of did what I'd always done, but I bought one with a synthetic stock. Well, what I found out pretty quickly was that there's a big difference between, 100 yards, maybe the most 300 yards to 500 yards plus. Huge difference. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I started learning, doing this, YouTube videos, tons of YouTube videos, blogs, stuff like that. Want to buy in a Bergara HMR, put a Vortex optics on it, and before I knew it, I was digging 1,000 yards, and then I just kept progressing with bigger rounds, higher velocities, better optics, So now it's something I do also. But one of the things I realized was at the beginning I was really offset by the price some of these people had into these guns. It was just insane. Then I realized the reason why I stayed away from long distance shooting for so long was because, I thought you had to have a $10,000 gun. You had to have some super obscure round that you had to wildcat these rounds and neck this down and make this and do all that and stuff. And it's just not true. So recently I got into a discussion off of a friend's Facebook post. There was a lady that chimed in and said, custom is the only way to go. Well, her and her husband own a custom shop, so of course that's her mindset. 25 years ago, probably would have agreed with her, but nowadays with the technology that is going into making these guns, it's not a necessity. It's a want to go custom. Yes, there is not a lot of difference. I can shoot half MOA with pretty much any production gun you give me with some reloading. That's another thing that makes a difference. But you just don't. You can't do it with a obscure round. You cannot. You're not going to walk into Cabela's or Bass Pro or Shields or Sportsman's Warehouse and you find a 6.5 SAUM. It's not going to. So if you want a 6.5 SAUM, which is an amazing round, you're going to have to go custom. If you want to shoot long distance with a 6.5 Creedmoor, or now they have the 6.5 PRC, which is a super awesome round. The 300 PRC, 300 Win Mags, tried and true, 338 Lapua. It's hard to beat that if you really want to get distances. You don't need to go buy those custom guns. I mean, you can take a chassis that might cost you $1,000 online and literally only have to pull 2 screws, watch a YouTube video, put it on, 20 minutes later you're shooting. A custom manufacturer, for $1,000, what it's going to cost you is going to charge you another $2,500 or so to do the exact same thing because it was done by gunsmith. Well, if you're talking about putting barrels to actions and head spacing and stuff like that into the meat and potatoes of the gun, yeah, you should probably have a gunsmith do it. Dropping an action and a barrel into a chassis, no, you are insane if you're paying those prices. So I decided I was going to make a couple little series about how you can shoot 1,000 yards for less than $1,000. And what I'm going to start with is what I originally bought was this. It's a Thompson Center Compass 6.5 Creedmoor. It is a cheap gun. When I bought this, you could buy this straight off the shelf, $249. Literally less than $250. This is what made me go buy another 6.5 Creedmoor. It is a cheap gun, but it shot incredibly well. You know, but it's if you want to pull out of your gun safe once a year and shoot a deer, this is a great gun. If you want to shoot a little bit further and be consistent about it, the meat and potatoes is great. The rest is pretty well junk. The trigger, I think, is said it's got to be something like 5,000 pounds. It's insane how heavy it is. The stock is, I mean, it is cheaper than the plastic on a Dodge pickup truck. It is horrible. The bolt, you know, it's a bolt. I'm not a big fan of it. Zero MA mounts, you know, Missouri Central, shooting deer, great. Want to shoot some distance, it sucks. The butt stock is super squishy though. And then one thing I noticed after I had it a while was, yeah, it's got a threaded barrel on it. $250 gun with threaded barrel. If you're kind of wanting to start getting into long distance shooting, threaded barrel might not make sense. You know, shortly it will make sense. I'm going to place stock, place trigger, place the mounts, place scope. Meat and potatoes is going to stay the same. And I will prove to you that this gun for $249 and you spending a little less than $1,000 getting into it will get you a consistent, accurate 1,000 yards every time. So keep watching. I'll post them as I make them. Take a little bit, but see you later.